Am I hosting the show? What's going on, everybody? I'm Harry Hancock.
We should have had like a bald eagle screeching behind.
Oh, it's a fireworks. Yeah. Dang, dang, dang.
Oh, Jesus.
This is HNM+W+K.
+K.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, here
Now you're
Yeah.
taking my spot.
I'm sorry.
I am Harry Hancock. With me, as always, is the great Nate Cummings.
Boo.
He rocks. As also with me is Maddie B.
How's
Matthew
it going?
Byer.
You just totally ignored
Yeah,
your
don't
intro,
say hey, man. No, it's fine. Don't worry
I
about
said
it.
hi.
No one heard you.
Whatever.
Dude,
He's in
grow
a
up.
mood. He's
Yeah,
in a mood.
he's in a
Go to
mood.
Wayne.
Wayne,
I'm
Fat
not-
Boy
oh,
Kinsey,
I'm here and enjoying life.
and Kay.
Whatever.
Can you say my last name?
Moronic.
There we go.
Not moronic.
Yeah, not moronic.
So,
War round.
Often confused.
this episode is pretty, it's coming after something. It's coming after something that happened. I don't know if many people were aware of this, but we had a presidential election recently.
No way, really?
It has been in our club's best interest to stay away from politics as much as possible. But this seems, and as long as we can keep this constructive,
We've all vowed
to keep this very constructive, very open-minded.
No name
Nobody's
calling.
opinions will be shat on.
No finger
Do we have to
pointing.
bleep that out?
No, we don't have to
Shat?
believe. No,
Okay.
because it's not. Yeah. We will keep this civil. Okay, everybody's civil. Our opinions are valuable.
You know what? It's a shame too, because for the half hour we taled before the show, it was very cool.
Oh, it's very, and I
it
know
went very well.
it's not going
And
to.
then,
Yeah, I feel like
someone's
now-
gonna say one thing, and we're oh no.
This is gonna be a brawl.
That's what's going to
Let's take
happen.
a U-turn real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a lot of good content.
Where do we want to start with this?
Well, just
Let's. Okay. I'm
Who's
going to announce.
surprised?
Wait.
okay.
Donald Trump won.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I can't hear.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll fix it. Oh, there you go. Can you hear now?
Can you hear me now?
Can you
no.
move closer?
But Donald Trump won. What are?
I didn't think he could do it, but he did it.
I didn't think he could do. I didn't think he had a rats or snowballs chance in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the feeling that everybody had going into it.
Yeah. Like
I just think it's so crazy that it
I didn't
happened.
think that he had a chance, but as I'm driving down the road all the time, you see all these Trump Pence signs, and I honestly didn't see that many Hillary Clinton signs.
See, I thought,
Clinton.
especially around here, I thought that too. But then you have to think about most Trump supporters, and it's not like this is a bad thing, were very passionate about the things he said and the things
That's
he
true.
proposed.
That's true.
Which isn't bad to be passionate about the candidate you support, but I feel like Clinton supporters didn't have that fire where it's like, oh, like this is who I'm voting for, like
Yeah.
Trump supporters did. I feel like that's just
Right.
all it
Of
was.
the whole, he pumps people up.
Right, yeah.
Except since the election has become final, we've seen an extreme backlash
From Hillary
from
supporters.
Hillary support. Even
Extreme.
from last night, watching their viewing party, we saw tears.
Yeah.
People just profusely just crying and going off, and we've seen riots already across the country in terms of.
There were riots last night before it was even like certain he was going to win. Like it was.
Once it got to the point where I think people started to recognize
end was near,
once he
yeah.
won Florida, I feel like that was kind of the turning
won
point.
Florida, I
yeah,
know it was
That was the
I think that was like
realization.
the moment that people were kind of like, yeah, this is gonna happen.
This is real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, after he won Florida, I forget what I was seeing on the news, but she literally would have had to have won the
Everything
rest of the
else,
states,
Yeah.
and that would have put her at a tie because it could go to. It could have been 269 to 269.
What happens at a time?
In which
They
case they
flip
go
a
to that.
coin.
No, in which case they go to I believe it's the House or the Senate. They go to one of those two and they determine who's the victor. The Republicans winning both the House and the Senate would have been extremely likely that he would have won.
That would have been crazy. Just like even if it did go to a tie, that would have been insane.
It was necessary for him to win outright. I think either candidate, if whichever one would have won, it would have been necessary for them to win outright, so that there wasn't even more scandal
And
behind
that's
what is
I said,
happening.
and that's what I said going into yesterday, that if it would so happen that we didn't reach the allocated number and Trump was to lose, that would just end up, we'd see for the next, like the entire presidency, we'd see nothing but
Yeah.
this was rigged, this was tainted. They wanted her to win from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't foresee it as much as if it would have happened had Trump won in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But I think definitely in a scenario where it goes to he didn't win the majority, and it was like a decided at that point, I think they definitely would have seen an immense outcry because we already saw it before the election even started. The rigged ballots, this is a rigged system.
Yeah.
They wanted us to lose, so I saw it only ending worse had it gone to that situation.
I feel that every year, everybody's always saying it's rigged, though.
I don't think not nearly as much as it was
Okay.
this year.
Yeah, maybe not this bad, but every year it's always quote unquote rigged.
And I feel like that should be questioned at all. I don't think people should just be complacent with what is happening and just, take it. Like, it should be, maybe you never know. That's how these things get figured out.
Yeah.
If there is that issue. Yeah. I'm not saying there is that issue, but
the potential
is there.
Right.
And when there is potential, there is somebody there to capitalize on that potential.
Right.
So it should be, always checked out, double checked, and triple checked.
Well, if there was anybody to know, it would be Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Always stirring
Upper
things.
echelon decision makers.
Now, are we moving on to our own policy making? Or
I don't.
Oh.
We can move on to that. I got to think.
How do you not know the major
I don't know what
issues
my
that you
major
have
policy
right now?
because I don't know what the most important issue is to me as of right now. 100%.
You don't have a major.
You don't have
issue.
something that's just really like you're passionate about.
The one thing that concerns me the most is government regulations on small businesses or businesses in general.
That's huge. That is a huge.
That would probably be my 1 and 2, and that being because, my parents own a small business. Mm-hmm. That's just what I've been surrounded by. Which is why you see Trump capitalizing on these economic and business issues because of the fact that that's what he's been around. That's what he knows the best.
Which is why I think it's great that we get away from a career politician and go into somebody that has. Maybe he's not as relatable. I know this is something that Byron and I have talked about. Maybe he's not as relatable as somebody else that started smaller than him, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I think that we have somebody in office that has the chance to. That has worked in this field, not necessarily been in the political realm for his entire life.
Yeah.
So, like you're saying, you have firsthand experience of small business, interaction with government, and all that stuff. I think it would be great for somebody with that experience to be in charge because they know how it works. And, the biggest thing with, I remember back to one of the debates where Hillary was complaining about Trump doesn't pay any taxes or anything like that. And he's saying, well, that's the way the laws are written. Mm-hmm. He would know it better than anybody else because he's the one that works with that stuff. He interacts with that stuff. He's like, if you don't like it, then change the law.
Yeah.
Which would be a perfect thing for somebody that...
Yeah. If you don't like what somebody's doing and you're in the position to change it, them that being the lawmakers and all that kind of stuff, they should have made it illegal. They should have made it impossible for him to do that.
Yeah, but if you
any situation
complain when it is the law.
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, I know there has been even further digging in saying that he may or may not have pushed the limits.
Yeah, and I'm sure he did. Most people do tend to push the limits when they're given a chance, but
if the option's there.
Yeah, what would your mine would probably be government regulations on businesses. What would yours be?
Well, wait. Do you want to elaborate on that? Or?
What do you mean?
I
just feel as though, in terms of regulations, in my mind, I'm thinking mainly the amount of tax put on people. I feel as though small businesses. I understand you want to tax them, and I understand it's a business, and they can be very, very profitable. And if they're not getting taxed, and they're making a ton of profit, even though they're small, that could be very bad. But the only way to encourage the entrepreneurship all around is to allow people to be as successful as they can.
It's all about cash flow.
It's all about cash flow. Mm. Cash flow is extremely important, and that's why we have the major debt that we have. We're struggling monetary-wise, economically. We are. There's no doubting it, right?
The writing's on the wall.
Well, yeah. But, I don't think there's too... I feel like just saying regulations on small businesses in itself is pretty much enough, because I don't think people are stupid. They understand what that means. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We all know. It's an issue.
Yeah.
What do you got?
My big thing, I don't know, I have a couple, but I guess my biggest thing And again, like when today's day and age, everyone's worried about money and how to save it and where like it's applicable where we could save it. I would definitely reform criminal justice in this country. I mean, when you think about it, we have 5% of the world's population, general populace-wise, and then you look at our penal system, and we have over 25% of the world's prisoners are in our jails, and around 80% of those are nonviolent drug offenders. When you look, like, that's money that we could be spending other places, because it costs $31,000 to keep an inmate in jail a year, and then we have 2.2 million inmates. Most of them are nonviolent drug offenders. Why are we like wasting money on people who aren't a threat to society other than they don't have any opportunity, so they're going out and they're selling drugs? You know?
I think education. Like,
education.
Look at the way that some European jail systems are set up. They set it on teaching inmates
Practical skills,
so that once they get out of the situation
jail
that they're in, that they don't come back, and it's a big thing that we don't encourage.
I think like what people, particularly Americans, because like you just brought up the whole how Europeans like at least provide some sort of opportunity for their prisoners. I think one thing that gets lost on people is that when you send someone away to prison, and I'm not talking about the murderers and the rapists and the abuse and like the physical abusers, like those people are meant to be housed in criminal justice facilities for decades and decades and decades. But when you send someone away for a crime like distributing a small amount of drugs, whether it's marijuana or whatever, and you essentially cripple their opportunity to thrive once they get out of prison, because like you hit them with a felony case and now they can't get a job, can they vote? Can felons vote?
I don't believe.
I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why people are so surprised that our reoffender rate is so high. You know?
Yeah. No.
So.
Here we go. Individuals convicted of a felony are ineligible to vote while incarcerated, on parole, or on probation. Voting rights are automatically restored 2 years after the completion of all supervised releases. So, except if you're convicted of treason.
Treason.
That'll do it.
If you're convicted of treason, voting is probably not.
Yeah, it's that Snowden guy. He's over in Russia right now.
Yeah.
Putin.
Yucking it up.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, that'd be my big thing.
Yeah.
Is criminal justice reform.
I'm going to sound like a career politician after I just sat there and bashed them.
Yeah.
But such is life. 4 major things that I would focus on is reform of the educational system, healthcare reform, investing in renewable energy, and taxing big organizations, keeping our industry and our money in America. Education, I think, is huge. One of the statistics that I saw earlier today was, 20% of our population is students, but they're 100% of our future. And we're still using outdated tactics, underpaying teachers,
Move a little closer.
undervaluing the statistics. We're still teaching kids in classrooms today using tactics that we used 100 years ago when we were teaching people how to work in assembly lines and do jobs that no longer exist in America. So we're captivating students and keeping them into a box, teaching to a test, using tests that have been quoted even by the makers. The tests are too crude to be used as judgment, and we're still using them to judge and to
gauge where
children are nowadays, and we're preventing them from finding true identities and using true creativity, where other countries are using using different tactics, exploiting the creativity and the individuality of every student, and they're flourishing. So I think that's one thing that we're definitely leaving behind.
We're teaching all of these future educators in college that. So we're teaching college students who are going to become teachers that everybody learns differently, and we need to highlight that and emphasize that. And then when they get into the real world and they're teaching, their hands are now bound that they can't
and it's not
have
the
the
teacher's
freedom.
fault.
It's definitely not the teacher's fault.
The lawmakers that are writing, they're writing curriculums that these people have never taught a day in their life.
Right.
Absolutely.
They value education as well, other than it's how I get funding, it's how I show that I'm better than somebody else. And it's like that we saw before, we compete against one another. Everything that we teach in America is to compete, be the best, do the best, and we search to find who is better instead of searching to find what is a better way of doing what we do today. So I think that's the biggest thing that we need to address going forward, because we need to stop living in this world where we feel we're number one and what we're doing is working, because it's obviously not.
Yeah.
What was your second one? What was your second policy that you said?
Healthcare reform.
Healthcare
reform. I think it is a thing that we see across the world. Also, we see that there are countries that have universal healthcare. There are countries that have different tactics, and it can work. But I think that what we saw, the introduction of Obamacare, was meant to be good, and I think there was good intentions that were there. It was just poorly worded, and it was poorly implemented, and it has caused more trouble for some and not been quite as beneficial for others as it could be. So I think that's one of the things that we address. Obviously, Donald Trump has made numerous comments about it as something that he wanted to address.
And to speak on that point, it's really important that these lawmakers, they implement these laws and these rules and everything like that. If you're not doing it right, you could scare off that idea for tens and 20, 30 years. That idea could never be thought about ever again, just because it was poorly ran the first time it was brought around. And that's, really important that if you're going to do it right.
You need to make sure
you need to make sure that right. It's you need to make sure that it's going to be okay. You can't just go into it and be like, well, I hope this works.
And I think that's something that we run the risk of now. We start judging presidents now based on what they do when they're in office. It's what policies did they put in place, what good did they do, and I think that's a thing that we run the risk now of having everybody that's put in office. They have to have that one thing. They have to have that signature trademark. This is what they did for us, and Obamacare is Obama's claim to fame. And I think it's something that was rushed, but it could be. I think it could be beneficial if it was reworked. That's just my stance if I was president. But
it's a good presidential platform.
But we've still got about 28 years until I can consider that.
This is true.
Wait, how old you have to be?
Actually, no, 18.
35.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not even 18.
No.
So you're 22.
I have to be 18.
I thought it was 40. I thought you had to be 40.
I thought it was. Is it?
It's 35.
Give it a gander. Somebody Google
it.
Give it a gander. I think it's 35.
In which case,
and you have to be an American citizen.
Which I hope I am if I was born here.
He's
until my life.
So. Well, it's different because I think senators, you only have to be in America for a certain amount of years. That's why Schwarzenegger, or governor. Maybe it's governor. He was governor, but
35.
Yeah, but yeah.
So you got 13 years.
Yeah, you're almost there.
Hopefully the world isn't totally imploded by then.
We'll worry about that later.
Yeah. It's fine. It's not time to panic.
All right, Kay Waronic. That was a good platform, by the way.
That was. I don't know that I can follow up after that.
See,
she's going to bring farms.
Yeah, that was,
consider one day that I will be a politician in this world.
Oh, God.
So.
Well, you have my vote. Maybe.
I get that a lot, so...
I don't. Bang, bang, bang. I don't know. I guess
Farming.
How many are we doing? Actually, that was gonna be one of them. So thanks for stealing my
I just
thunder.
did one until one maybe comes to me later, but.
Yeah, I guess my big ones are education, healthcare, like Nate just said, and then the future of agriculture.
Oh,
I know
she's
you had to get the farmer in here with all of you, but yeah, we don't have anything without agriculture, and that's my spiel on that. And
Very
the fact
good.
that
Good job.
I kept nice and concise.
Of which was a big issue that was left off the battlefield for this whole election process. The environment and sustainable agriculture were like two main things that are just completely left off the works this whole election season.
Are you laughing at this?
No, I'm excited for what's coming next.
No, well, before we get to that,
but I did think a lot of Trump's votes came from the farmers because Pence showed up at the National FFA convention and really showed his support for the ag community.
Showing up to these states
makes
it really does make a difference, and we learned that in the actual election because the states that Trump wasn't really supposed to win, that he showed up to at the very end, they
ended up
ended up
it.
winning them, and
Yeah.
it didn't really work out the same way for Hillary because she was in PA the night before, and she had like a star-studded deal, and it didn't work out for her, so it doesn't always work out.
Right.
But showing up does actually make a major difference to these people.
Well, he ran a very atypical or non-traditional campaign, the way that he did everything.
And that's why I think the initial pollings and everything like that, you couldn't really trust it. For as long as you couldn't trust anything that was actually being said. We'll get to you, Wayne. Don't worry. I'm just giving you time to think. I'm just saying, like, you couldn't really trust too much of what was actually being said because of the fact that it was just so different from what has happened.
Yeah.
How can you predict something that you've never seen?
Not that it was necessarily wrong. It was just like we've never seen it before. So how can you accurately gauge?
Yeah, exactly.
Because everything you watched from 8 a.m. all the way until about 12:30 this morning was that Hillary Clinton's walking away with this. You don't even need to show up to the polling place 'cause she's going to walk away with this victory hands down. And then there was a realization as the night turned into the morning that all of a sudden
Now here's a
Trump
question.
could win this.
As more red showing up on the map.
Here's a question. The night that she had her rally with Beyonce and President Obama and everything, she canceled the fireworks show that was supposed to be at the end of the night.
Could have done it.
Do you think that maybe she knew that it could be a little bit closer than she thought?
Well, she was screaming confidence all day long.
Yeah.
All day long, all you heard from the Hillary camp was confidence.
You don't think she had any? You don't think she had any doubt?
No, because then getting back to the point where it's like when you looked at the polls, it just showed you had it in the bag, and no one knew what he was. So I'm sure she was just like, oh, I got it in the bag. Maybe I'll save the fireworks for the next day when I win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my only thing is I think that maybe she was like doing that was her being a little bit more cautious because they get different polls than what is released on the news. Mm-hmm. They pay to get like the legitimate the polls. Mm-hmm. And maybe I don't know, maybe she got some different information. I don't know. Maybe there was a concern.
I don't think it had to do with the legitimate polls. I don't think it was her canceling it was a case of fear. I think her confidence, though, came from what, Nate, you said, that nobody knows what Trump is or what he had planned or where we're going with this. So she was going with the safe, comfortable, I'm going to have everybody's votes because I'm a safe and comfortable idea.
You should never announce you're winning before you've won. Now the moment of truth.
Yeah, here we go.
The platform of future
Wayne
President
Kinsey.
Wayne Fatboy Kinsey. Let me hear it.
One topic, Wayne.
Everybody has to pack a lip.
Everybody.
No, I actually
just
listen. Look.
He's sitting up now. He's
I'm
sitting up.
now.
Exactly.
This is real.
This is actually going to run off of you, Buyer.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So you're going to laugh when I say this, but honestly,
he's going to be my running mate.
yeah, I'll be a running mate. No, but it's going to go off of this though.
I'm still wearing the Beats.
Yeah, that's fine.
Still is.
I unplugged it though.
But,
you're good.
No, seriously, the legalization of marijuana, honestly, because one, it's going to take people out of jail that we're spending money on that we don't need, and two, they can use it. The government can use it to their advantage and actually tax it. Yeah. And by taxing it, then we can make money, and that will actually help our economy as a whole.
Here's the concern: encouraging them to tax it to make money. The government has a tendency to run away with those kinds of things.
Yes, I understand.
To the point where, what if they scare off the people that want to purchase it?
Yeah.
Because there's so much tax. It gets to the point where you can't afford weed.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing though as like how it is for tobacco, because now I know personally that they're bumping up the tobacco prices on everything and anything that they can think of.
Yeah.
But I feel like that if they legalize it, I would say do better. But knowing how Americans are, they're probably just going to run away and make it bad.
Here's why you can't really compare. I know what you're saying, but here's why you really can't compare tobacco and marijuana. Because say we legalize marijuana, yeah, it's legal and people can buy it in stores. But if it comes that time where they jack up the prices to the point where it's like, oh wow, this I don't want to pay for this.
Yeah.
They have an alternative and they can go and get it in the street.
Now,
where you can't get tobacco from a corner.
True.
You know what I mean?
do you decriminalize it? If you make it legal to sell in stores, do you decriminalize it?
Wait, what do you mean?
From like people selling it on the streets, if a cop catches them, is it legal or illegal?
Oh, you should just hit them with a little ticket. That's what Philly does. Because the amount of and this like just like kind of ties into the war on drugs, the whole war on drugs thing. Like when Philadelphia, or even look at Colorado or Washington, as soon within 3 years of them totally, well, I think out there it wasn't just decriminalized, it was totally legalized. Yeah. Of them doing that, all forms of crime, except for arson, ironically enough, went down. Yeah. And it wasn't by like 1 or 2 percentage points. This was like across the board, like theft, murder, like violent crime went down because people could get it, and they weren't hiking up the prices. It was still affordable, and I don't know. I don't see how it could go wrong as long as you keep the prices relatively fair.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But government raises things just because they can. So
yeah, they do. Because they can. They're the ones in charge, right? It's like your electoral college. I want to talk a little bit about the states, like the breakup of the states,
right?
Because I think last night was extremely telling for where this country is at, just in regards to, I mean, you had the 2 major candidates that were complete polar opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And you had states that he wasn't really supposed to win that managed to be
Do you think we underestimated the sheer general hatred for Hillary Clinton?
I think so.
I think it was just for politicians in general.
Yeah.
I don't think it was...
Do you think it's politicians in general, or just for the...
My issue is, I would say it's politicians in general, but I feel like if you put another politician in there, it wouldn't have been the same amount of hatred.
Do you think if Bernie's running, do you think this is a different election?
I think it's
no
closer.
longer it's no
I think it's a
longer
lot
between
closer.
the worst of 2 evils.
Because Bernie Sanders, granted, he's a politician, so he probably is corrupt in some way, shape, or form. But from a public stance, like, he was so much more likable.
yes,
You could not, like,
It was like your happy old grandpa.
Your grandfather, dude. You can't hate your grandpa. Like, you just can't, like, and if it was him running against Trump,
Yeah.
Bernie would have won all the young votes. Because I know and one thing that I didn't get was, when Bernie Sanders was defeated by Hillary Clinton and Clinton got the Democratic nomination, one thing they were saying was, oh, like, all the young supporters who were going to vote for Bernie are now going to vote for Hillary. Well, all of my friends who were going to originally vote for Bernie Sanders,
They hated Hillary
hated Hillary Clinton. And they were like,
Well, he was exactly what he was like. What she was preaching. He was preaching against.
Yeah.
You know,
big government,
the connections with the Wall Street, and you could say if you want that she isn't an elitist. I'm putting air quotes around that. She is richer than all can be. Like, she's got money. She's top. You know, she's top of the list.
Well, both of them are.
Yeah, they both are. But I'm saying he was exactly what she was exactly what he was going against.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know a good handful of people that were with Bernie and then went to Hillary for the sheer fact that they didn't like Trump.
Yeah,
and I think that is the dumbest reason.
And that's what it came down to. I feel like we heard that a lot last night. If you watched the news, it was not who you wanted. It was who you didn't want.
Exactly.
Like, who did you not want?
Yeah.
Which is why I feel there needs to be a reform in
our political
system, because we can't get to another situation again, especially in a time of need that we are now, where we're choosing between the lesser of 2 evils simply because we have to have one Democrat, one Republican.
Yeah.
We need to be in a situation where the best possible individual with the best platform and the best backing is before us, and not just 2 parties, because that's how it's always been.
And I mean, if you look at what the tickets were to start with, I mean, the Democrats, they knew it was going to be Hillary. They had what? They had 4 people running, or 5. 3 of them were nobodies. Then it was between Bernie and Hillary. Yeah. And it was, I think, assumed the whole time that Hillary was going to win. If you look at the Republican, I mean, there was, 16 people?
There's a lot.
And it was not like it was a blowout for a while. It was fairly close.
Yeah.
So, would the Democrats have benefited more if they had, more options up there, you think?
probably.
More substantial options.
I think she was, and again, you have to, you can't argue with her resume. You know what I mean? So, unless you had some real heavyweight thrown into there. I think she still gets it though.
Yeah.
Having her was inevitable.
Right.
Would Joe Biden have changed the landscape? You want to talk about a big
No,
name?
I'm gonna say no.
You want to talk about
I'm
likable?
agreeing.
People do like Joe
do
Biden.
like him.
They
Joe Biden.
do. Oh man, Biden should have
What-
ran. It's
I mean,
fine. It is what it is.
You got 4
Yeah.
years.
But I still feel like it wouldn't have made a difference.
I don't.
I
either,
feel
really.
I feel like we would probably have still been in the same situation. I feel like Hillary would have beaten anybody that would have come up against her.
My question is though, after this term's up,
Yeah.
is Hillary back
Nah,
up?
she's
You
done.
think she's
No,
done?
I think she.
I don't think she can. I mean, 2 presidential
Well, she
losses.
could. That'd be a huge
I mean, she can,
financial
She
burden.
could.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not really
But
a
for her-
financial
but for her,
burden.
it's
Let's
not.
be
Yeah.
real.
We can't dismiss
It's
her
other
health.
people's. Listen, it's other people's financial
Yeah.
burden.
I'm sure it's personally though. I'm sure it's just like so exhausting.
She's what, 70? Trump's 70? Aren't they both 70?
Trump's 74. I think she's
74.
Is he really?
He just turned 70.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he
Then
just
maybe
turned
she's
70.
older. Maybe she's like 73.
I know they're both in their 70s.
Maybe she's like 73 and he just turned 70.
Yeah.
And like, how old's Bernie Sanders?
She was born in
old.
1930.
Dirt.
Like,
47.
like literally, he can't run again. Because
She's
You can't
69.
run in general.
yeah.
That's
You're going to break a hip.
election.
Yeah.
Donald is 70. Hillary Clinton is 69.
There you go.
One of them
Bill
were
Clinton
older
is
than-
70. And for reference, Barack Obama will leave at the age of 55.
He was young.
He
was young.
He was
Young
young when he
chicken.
got in.
Yeah.
Wait,
He's
what's he
got
gonna
his
do with his
whole life
life?
My favorite.
He's
though,
going to do what
is-
all presidents do.
have
They make
you-
a ton of money when they're
Oh, definitely. My favorite is, have you guys ever stopped and looked at their picture of when they were
Yes.
inducted and then when they're leaving?
Yes.
Rock
Complete.
looks like he's been through hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he has.
Yeah. But what was I just saying?
Oh,
I just had a thought in my head.
That America's
I had
great
a thought
again.
in my head, and now it's gone. Joe Biden would have changed it. I feel.
Yeah. I saw a picture
I
on
feel like-
Instagram. It was like, can't we just not have a president? Just swear we'll all be really nice to each other. Like seriously.
I think we just need a break for a while.
Can't we just like be cool with each other for like 4 years and just start it over again?
No.
I think we'd be good.
I just.
At this point, I'll take a year. and
Just one.
It was.
Yeah.
6 months. Give us 6 months.
I just. This was one of the craziest elections I think we may ever see, for at least for a while.
I know personally, not me, but I know like some of my friends. Friendships were ended over
Yes.
this
Yeah.
freaking thing, and that is
It is insane.
the fact.
They were doing news stories that marriages were ending over this.
The fact, and this should wait. And I know we joke around a lot on this show, but this should scare people. The fact that lifelong friendships and, like you just said, which I was unaware of, marriages,
yeah.
the most sacred bond in the universe,
Whoa.
can be broken. It is when you think about
It
it.
is. No, I agree.
Can be broken
Because of something like this.
because of two political parties slandering one
You know-
another. That should
You
scare
know what
the
it comes
hell
down
out of
to?
people.
It's a lack of respect.
Yeah.
It's a lack of
Yeah.
respect for each other.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that,
Wait.
especially now with how divided this country is.
Mm-hmm.
It's people can't take other people's opinions. We're sitting here and talking
I was just
constructively.
gonna say
This
that.
is rare. This
Yeah.
is rarer than hell that
This
people
is.
can sit down and talk and not want to like kill each other
Yeah, and
talking about it.
And you know what it is? I mean, Americans just in general, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just feel like we're so. I feel like on one side of the bridge you have Republicans, and on the other side of the bridge you have Democrats, and everyone's like just terrified to like intermingle with the other side.
Yeah.
But then you
It's
look
like
at
your dance with the boys and the girls.
right, but then you look at countries who were just thriving over in Western Europe and Southeast Asia, like South Korea, Japan, China. Countries who are kicking our butts, like, economically, and well, what are they doing? Like, they're saying, okay, like, we think this group of people thinks this way, and this group of people thinks this way, and we might disagree, but I like some things that you're saying, and I like some things that you're saying, and we're gonna intermingle them.
Exactly. The
'Cause-
problem.
No,
The
what were you gonna
problem
say?
is it's people have this mindset of it's black and it's white.
Yeah.
There was wrong and there was right, and like I completely 100% hate this
Yeah.
person who's running.
It doesn't
or
matter what they
I
say.
completely love what they're saying. Like I admit there are some things there are some things I liked and didn't like about one candidate, and some things I liked and didn't like
Yeah.
about another. And it's just we have this mindset of it's one or the other.
Yeah.
You can't have both,
Yeah.
and you can.
Yeah. You can.
You can have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have everything you want, but this
Right.
world's all about. There's 6 or 7 billion other people in this world. We have to compromise.
Exactly.
Like, God,
I hope if anything this election does is a thing that's going to make politics better is getting more people involved.
Common people.
I hope that the more people we have, it's simple business. The more there is, the better competition, and competition brings the best out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that this election can show that future people, it'll lead to more individuals wanting to run for president. Because number one, what's the biggest issue right now? Like, there's a lot of great candidates out there, like that we were naming a couple of people that should have run. They didn't want to, because why would I want that? Why would I want this noise? Why would I want to be up there publicly scrutinized?
Yeah.
Why would you go on for a year and a half to get your complete life just crapped on?
Yeah.
Just crapped
Just
on.
exposed.
I mean, both of them. Between Hillary and Donald, if they're literally, if they didn't win, or if Donald didn't win, his life is crapped on. Hillary's life has been crapped on.
Yeah.
Forever. But I hope that for our sake, I really hope Trump does well, or at least does good enough to encourage more people to continue to step up, to get away from the traditional career-long politician, more everyday, self-made. Again, Trump might not have been so self-made, but like everyday people coming out and giving us more options as a society, because that's only going to make us better.
Yeah.
The more collaboration and the more competition that we can create within America, the better that we can be as a country.
Of people that haven't been
You know
there
what?
for
Is
hundreds of years.
People need to be doing more podcasts and talking about
That's
these
probably
things.
what it is.
They
I
should
feel
be
like
doing
for a
with
first
podcast
political
clubs.
podcast, we've
Just went well.
Look at us.
done well. Maybe we'll do these more.
Yeah. The moral of today's story.
We'll see what the reaction is from the people.
Yeah. Moral of today's story.
I'll probably
is
get a complaint in a couple.
Everyone's got.
I don't think
Everyone
tried
has
to
good
change it, right?
ideas.
Man, I think we're going to end this one for now. We'll continue with this because this is going to be a big deal for a couple of months now, I
Well,
feel.
it's the world we live in today.
It's the world we live in today, and that's going to be what's happening. Well, for HNM+W+K, I'm Harry Hancock. With me is Nate.
Have a good one.
Damn you. Matt Bye.
Have a good luck, everybody. God, let's keep our fingers
God bless
crossed.
Wayne, Fat Boy Kinsey.
Randy, Mama Cummings.
Oh, Jesus. And Kay Waronic.
Thanks.
Yep, I am Harry
See ya.
Hancock. If you have any questions or concerns, be sure to email dvupodcast@gmail.com. Also, be sure to like our Facebook and Twitter pages. On Facebook, we are the Podcast Club at Del Val. On Twitter, we are DVU Podcast. Thank you all for listening, and
Ciao.
see you later.
God bless America.